So my friends, it's that time of the year where we compare last year's LG OLED C4 to this year's brand new LG OLED C5. We'll put them side by side to check out the differences, and we'll also look at things like price and what you can get for your money right at this point in time. And is it worth spending the extra to get the newest TV? Well, we'll find out. Don't forget to hit the red button to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up and click the notification bell to get my next video first. Now before we get started, I have already done a video comparing this year's new C5, the 55-inch version, with last year's G4, the 65-inch version, because you can actually get the larger G4 for around exactly the same money as the C5. So if you're considering that, then check out this video, which will be linked up above and in the description. Okay, so the first things we did was to hook it up, and we took some brightness readings, and I'll go through some of those in just a second, but get these TVs running to look at their optimum. Now, if you do see a slight line on the right-hand TV, that actually is just a reflection of the window blind not being shut 100%. There is not some huge defect in the TV that I just bought. Okay, so just running through the settings screen just so that you can see that these both are at exactly the same, and all of the numbers are exactly the same. Now they will notice, and I think you can notice it even from this screen, that there is a degree of brightness improvement on the C5, and I think that it is far more noticeable, the C5 extra brightness compared to the C4 to C3 last year. And what I mean is that the increment this year seems better than what the increment was last year. And anyway, from my readings, it was around 200. I was able to get 1198 nits on the C5 and 968 on the C4, so there is a roughly 200 nit difference in brightness on a 10% window, and it is very noticeable in a lot of scenes. Not every scene, I have to say, but certainly in a lot of scenes you do pick up that extra brightness. Now, it isn't all about brightness. The TV obviously has to handle that brightness well, and we don't want it just to be glaring in some places, and there were some scenes that I did feel like it was almost over bright and I had to dial it back a little bit, but the majority of scenes I thought the brightness was certainly an improvement, and you could definitely see a better quality of picture. Now, one thing that I think is noticeably better as well is the colour volume on the C5. It just feels like it's much more accurate, and it's just displaying a wider range of colours. So we'll confirm all of this when we run through the tests in the dedicated review that we do on the C5, and I'll be able to show you exactly what results that we've been able to achieve. But certainly just on the face of it, when you're looking at both of these pictures side by side, I think that most people will agree that in the majority of scenes, then it is pretty noticeable. Not in every scene, but certainly the majority. But there's normally one big reason why the C4 will be more popular. Now, for many people, and I really do think rightly so, it will just come down to price. And as we sit here on the 18th of April in 2025, this is the price range that you can get the most popular models for, the 55, the 65, and the 77. Now, where the price difference is startling is not comparing the like-for-like models, the 55-inch of the C4 to the C5, but go to the extreme. So look at the price for the C5 55-inch version and then compare it to the 77-inch C4. And the difference that you'll get in terms of an incredible experience watching TV for the difference in money is just minimal. So for $18.99 in the UK, for just £300 more, you can have a screen that is 22 inches bigger. It's quite remarkable. And as you can see from the quality of the TVs being shown, as you can see from the comparison, you know, the difference is the C4 is still an unbelievably good TV. The C5 will probably be a smidgen better, but the difference in price is quite staggering. Now, one thing which is better on the C5 and that seems to have been fixed from last year's C4 is the brightness issues in game mode when comparing it to the standard HDR brightness. It's something which was suffering from dimming. I've not noticed that on the C5, and I'll demonstrate that to you in the full review. When it comes to AI, well, there's the same personalized picture wizard, but there's also a new feature on the C5. There is the sound wizard, which is a personalized sound wizard, which is great. It's just nice to have another feature. What I would say, though, is that really the sound on these TVs is not the best anyway, and so I definitely recommend having a separate sound system or a sound bar, and so therefore I would definitely go down that road. But if you're not going to have those and you do want the TV sound, well then having this AI sound system I guess is a nice feature. Other than that, all of the AI features are pretty much down to the individual choice. I think that for some people, maybe you've got a house where multiple people are using the TV and they like multiple different settings, then having the fact that you can create profiles and you can have different voice IDs. Again, I'll demonstrate all of these full features in the full review. But those things might be something which people go for, but for me it's just not something which I really bother with so much. Now, once again, physically, there really isn't that much difference between these two TVs. There is a slight difference on the back, but the whole of the unboxing experience from 2024 to 2025 is almost identical. And when these TVs are side by side, it's very difficult to actually tell them apart. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't big differences on the inside. It is a completely new panel, and it's got the extra brightness, so that obviously is a big feature. There is one difference as well this year, depending on where in the world you are. There is a different controller. The Magic Remote has been updated. Here in the UK, it's been updated very subtly with just a few new buttons on. You've now got the AI button, which you can call on the middle just above the wheel, and you've got the home hub button. But in the US you would get something different, and in other locations you'll get the new updated one, but here we have to have the buttons with the numbers, so we don't get the new remote. But enough about that, it's not really that big a deal. But here is some footage that I took at the beginning of the year, and I think that you can see, playing it through the TV, you can definitely see the difference of the extra brightness and the subtle way that the brightness is done in a very clever way, but makes the whole picture look a lot better. But the question you just need to ask yourself, my friends, is does it look that £1,000 or £2,000 better from the prices that we spoke about earlier? So I think most of the improvement is going to be down to the processor. The new Alpha 9 AI processor Generation 8 analyzes and upscales every single frame in detail, and it now recognizes faces, and it uses AI to not only deliver what hopefully will be the best 4K visual quality, but also it will upscale and enhance things like depth and also facial expressions. So if you're in the market for a new TV right now, then this is going to be one of the best TVs that money can buy. It is absolutely stunning. But I think the thing that I will still keep on coming back to, and I'll probably do this every single year, is the difference in the prices of last year's TVs compared to the difference in the quality. And I have to say, you're not getting that much of a worse TV for going last year's, but you are potentially getting either a lot bigger TV for the same money, or you're certainly getting a lot more for the money. So again, I'm afraid it's deja vu, my friends. If I was buying a TV right now and I really wanted to feel that I've got the best value for money, then I would go for the C4. However, if I wanted to get the best TV and this is on a deal or an offer, well, then maybe just push the boat out and get the C5, because it is just an amazing TV. That's it for this video, my friends. Look forward to seeing you on the next.